Be it sports, science, or even fighting, our champions have inspired many to follow in their footsteps.
Like today's combatants.
Sakura Kasugano versus Yuri Sakazaki, the exuberant youth versus the wild flying swallow. Now, for the sake of fairness, we'll be looking at both characters from the main games, mangas, comics, animes, and movies, minus any events that directly correlate with franchise crossovers.
He's one fish mob and I'm three crab mob, and it's our job to see who would win an all-out fan war.
In the world of Street Fighter, warriors of all shapes and sizes from across the world seek each other out to test their might.
But no man, wild man, demigod, or even actual god is as happy to get into the arena as the young schoolgirl, Sakura Kasugano.
Born in Japan, Sakura was a very competitive child, frequently finding new hobbies or activities that she would like to become the best in the world at.
But it wasn't until the day she saw the street fighting master himself, Ryu, in action.
The way Ryu fought, and the way he was able to harness his inner ki for combat fascinated Sakura, and from that moment on, she knew what her calling was: to find Ryu, have him teach her the art of fighting, and become a street fighter herself.
And fortunately for Sakura, she was actually quite gifted at fighting, and found that she was able to reproduce some of the moves she saw others doing by concentrating and imitating them. I guess sometimes imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
And while her techniques aren't always one-to-one imitations, as she does like putting her own spin on them, this actually sometimes improves them. Like how when she was being trained by Dan Hibiki, the literal worst martial artist in the world, she took his horrendous self-made fighting style that she herself describes as, oh dear, and actually created a far better one out of it by incorporating aspects from other fighters and their styles.
And with this new style of hers, she truly became something more. She can send people flying with her Shoryuken, knock people down with the Hadosho, restrain large opponents with the Daydream Headlock, or rapidly uppercut people with the Mid-Air Sakura.
Heck, it's because of this imitation that she was able to successfully recreate Ryu's trademarked Hadoken, a concentrated fireball of ki energy she fires from her hands. And while it may seem simple enough, there are actually quite a few variants of this one technique.
One can be used at close range, detonated mid-charge, used in the air, or simply for plowing through enemies. But her most powerful variation is the Neketsu Hadoken, which is so powerful it makes every other variation she has look like child's play.
But even with all that said, while she may look like a harmless schoolgirl on the surface, she's actually very tenacious when it comes to fighting. She's fast enough to dodge point-blank Hadokens from Dan...
which is just a lamer version of the Hadoken.
Ahem. She's also fast enough to leave after images, is tough enough to take hits from powerhouses like Zangief, large explosions created by Hadokens colliding, overpowered entire groups of guards, and can crack bones with her punches. Oh, and she can knock down trees by kicking them. She was even able to hold her own against the fighter Akuma, who once sunk an entire island in a single punch. And if we were to go by this user's estimations, this is about 1.3 gigatons that Akuma exerted.
Okay, I know she's a prodigy and all, but she's still a student. How is she able to do this?
Well, remember how she's able to study and copy the moves of others? She also incorporates that into fighting itself, analyzing an opponent's fighting style mid-combat to adjust hers accordingly, even to the point of being able to tell how powerful someone is just by looking at them.
Well, with how absolutely terrifying she is, it's probably a good thing she only fights for experience and the passion of it, until you piss her off.
That truly is putting it lightly. You see, her devotion toward convincing Ryu to train her eventually developed into a crush of sorts, one so strong that she will blame herself if something happens to him, and resorting to extreme measures to get him back, which eventually led to Sakura tapping into a truly malicious energy, the Satsui no Hado.
Literally translating to surge of murderous intent, this dark energy forces Sakura to become extremely violent and develop a murderous desire to fight, transforming her into the uncontrollable psychopath, Dark Sakura.
While this form greatly enhances her physical prowess at the cost of her humanity, it does increase her power in more than just physical strength. It also gives a massive boost to her Hadokens and grants her access to new moves.
As Dark Sakura, the Shinku Hadoken becomes a giant laser. The Ashura Senku lets her basically teleport wherever she wants, while making her completely invulnerable, and the Shungoku Satsu is a beatdown so relentless it destroys the opponent's soul.
In fact, Akuma, you know, the one who might as well be the embodiment of the Satsui no Hado, once said that if she mastered this state like him, she could actually surpass him in power. To put this in perspective, Akuma, after almost becoming one with the Satsui no Hado, once destroyed this meteor.
Which, thanks to our friend Kobe Eagle, we knew the destructive force needed to destroy this meteor would be around 1.5964 E plus 17 joules of energy.
Or simply put, enough power to level a large city. And if going by Akuma's statements, this means when she is fully consumed by the Satsui no Hado, she should surpass this.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, but no scorned woman hath the fury of one Sakura Kasugano with murderous intent.
And despite her young age, she's already an accomplished fighter. She ended the perfect winning streak of her rival Karen, who lost almost every subsequent battle they had, has entered multiple fighting tournaments on occasion, tag teamed with her wrestling idol, Rainbow Mika, and even forced Ryu to actually fight seriously when she was overwhelmed by the Satsui no Hado.
However, let's not forget that she still is technically in training. Her Hadokens lack the range and power of others, and has lost many battles in the past.
And for the longest, her only teacher up to this point was, you guessed it, Dan Hibiki.
Ugh. With how awful he is at what he does, she might as well have quit her dreams right there.
But she did eventually get her wishes and was able to train under Ryu after graduating high school. Sakura was finally on her way to achieving her dreams.
But even though she has a long way to go before she can call herself a champion fighter, I think we can agree she's already proven herself to be one tough cookie.
You win!
The King of Fighters, a global tournament that brings many different participants from all across the globe, each eager to claim the lustrous title of, well, the King or Queen of Fighters.
And no one wanted to enter this tournament more than Yuri Sakazaki.
As a child, she lived a relatively unpleasant life at times. She lost her mother when she was 6, her father left their family to keep them from being targeted, and all this caused her to become fearful to the point of being dependent on her brothers for their entire childhood.
And to top it all off, she was kidnapped at 17 years old as a way to blackmail her father.
And while it all ended happily with her family reunited, they knew she had to be able to protect herself in the future. So they taught her in their family's own brand of martial art, Kyokugen Ryu.
From damsel in distress to damsel who causes distress, Yuri became a capable fighter, able to match almost anyone she meets. Hey Mario, maybe you should try that with Peach. Maybe that way Bowser won't kidnap her so often.
In any case, Yuri became less dependent on others and eventually became so confident in her fighting prowess that she wished to enter the King of Fighters tournament, wanting to show her newfound independence, but was denied entrance by her family, mostly because they were concerned for her safety.
Of course, she ignored their request and entered the tournament, forming a team with 2 other contestants, King and Mai, forming the Queen's team. And through this, Yuri now had the chance to put her own Kyokugen Ryu skills against other powerful combatants, and could finally show the world she is no longer that scared little girl who was kidnapped so long ago, but a true queen of fighters.
And while she's no master martial artist, she knows very well how to fight. She's defeated groups of thugs, knocked people into the air, react to light-based attacks, and endure beatdowns from more seasoned fighters. like Terry Bogard, who can destroy an entire factory in just one punch.
Thanks to Kobe Bagel again, the calculation for this would put it around 40 billion megatons of force.
That's enough force to destroy an entire island.
And like any good character from a fighting game, she has her own trademark special moves to use in a fight. She can repeatedly uppercut people, kick the ever-loving crap out of people, slap her opponents like the little twerps they are, use her own ass as a battering ram, and beat the opponent so senselessly it can't be shown to mortal eyes. The horror.
But it's not just feet, hands, and rears that make her a formidable warrior. Yuri has also learned how to create and manipulate chi energy for various purposes, from creating barriers, explosions, or even fire powerful projectiles.
Like the Kawoken, a pink fireball of girly destruction that damages anything in its way.
She also has a few variations of the same move, like the faster, more powerful Hao Shokuken, or the unblockable Denjin Hao Shokoken, that can be charged for more damage and leave those it hits disorientated.
And while Yuri may not be a master of the Kokugen Ryu art, she's already proven to be one of the best her family has to offer. She's gone up against and defeated some of her world's most powerful fighters like Orochi and Geese, and defeated many other teams alongside the Queen teams with Mai and King.
She can even keep up with fighters who have defeated beings who can create entire universes. But like the crab mentioned, Yuri is no master, as she was only trained in a low level of Kyokugen Ryu. Her moves are basic and not as powerful as they could be. In fact, Yuri can be found more often fighting on a team than her own, and has actually yet to win a King of Fighters tournament.
But while Yuri may still be working to stand on her own, I think she's proven herself to be a Queen of the Ring.
Alright, the combatants are set. This battle shall have no prep time, no outside help, or home field advantage.
It's time for an all-out fan war.
But first, a really big announcement.
Again? Really?
Oh, but you see, Crab Mob, this time there's a twist. That's right, the Hulk is returning, and this time you get to decide who he fights. And trust me, there is a lot of options to pick from, so please go down to the description below once this video is over and cast your vote on who you want the big green giant to fight. But until then, it's time for a fan war.
Really?
Cody!
Careful, you might hurt yourself.
Well, it looks like there's a new Queen of Fighters now.
With all honesty, this was a fairly simple outcome to determine. For this match, we looked at latent power, strength and durability, speed, moveset, and overall skill. And when it came to who had the highest potential exclusively regarding raw power, Yuri took this category.
When scaling to other people they can match in combat, Yuri is able to match and keep up with universal deities, or scale to those who fought them, while Sakura, at best, can only scale to people who are planetary under specific circumstances.
But on the flip side, when looking at pure physical might that they have already displayed, both are actually pretty even, as both can scale to opponents whose damage output equates to island levels of power, and can survive being attacked by said individuals or those similar to them.
Except when it comes to who is the overall fastest. Yuri is able to react to light speed laser beams, while Sakura can scale to faster than sound bullet timers.
But when it came to their movesets, it was a different story. Both of them had similar abilities and techniques, roughly speaking, but Sakura edged this one out ever so slightly.
While Yuri's Kouken and Saiho could match and counter Sakura's standard Hadokens, their use was nowhere near as versatile than the latter, which could be performed in many ways. And there's no way Yuri could protect herself from Dark Sakura, which would not only nullify the former speed advantage via teleporting, but there was nothing Yuri could do to protect herself from the Raging Demon.
Which leads us to the final category, skill. And it's pretty obvious who takes this one.
Yuri may be a tenacious fighter, but the training she received was only the mere basics, while Sakura had actual proper training, even dabbling in other fighting styles on the side. And while Yuri certainly has learned a lot since then, it still pales in comparison to what Sakura was able to achieve through her mentors.
And sure, while Kyokugen Ryu would be an unfamiliar martial art to her at first, Sakura could just analyze her fighting style and adjust accordingly. Heck, she could even straight up mimic it like she has with others.
Without a doubt, both Sakura and Yuri were capable fighters who could match each other blow for blow, but in the end, Sakura's adaptability, moveset, and natural talent gave her what she needed to take the win. Looks like Yuri got Sakura-wrecked.
The winner is Sakura Kasugano. But if you want to see a fight between Ryu and Kyo Kusanagi, this is what you have to do. Hit that like and subscribe button and share this video. And if this video gets 2,000 likes, there will be a matchup. But until then... Next time on Fan War.